Here.
Mike Burns. Flynn.
Here.
Bob Ivy. Jim Dozy.
Here.
Roger Spencer. LaDonna Allen.
Here.
We all please stand and join me in our pledge of allegiance and the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you pray with me? Gracious God, as we come to you this day to begin another session of the Carl Junction Board of Alderman, we ask that you impart upon us your wisdom and guidance so that we may promote justice, assist those in need, and provide for the overall well-being of the citizens of Carl Junction. In your most holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Rick. Next is the approval of the agenda.
I move we approve the agenda.
Second.
Thank you.
Motion by Donna Allen, second by Rick Flynn to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 5 in the affirmative with 3 absent. The agenda is approved. Next is the approval of the consent agenda, which is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, both open and closed. Are there any comments or corrections to the consent agenda and also the disbursements?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second. Motion by Donna Allen, second by Gary Stubblefield to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 5 in the affirmative with 3 absent. The consent agenda is approved. Next is public forum. Anyone wishing to speak at public forum? Last call for public forum if no one wishes to speak. Very well then, since no one wishes to speak, we'll move right on. Next is the oath of office for the city clerk. Would our new city clerk, who's effective today, come forward and take this oath of office, please?
Right here.
Yeah, right there's fine.
I, Elena Wright, do solemnly swear that I possess all the qualifications for the position of a city clerk as prescribed by law, that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Missouri, the provisions of all laws of this state affecting cities of this class, and the ordinances of the city of Carl Junction, and faithfully demean myself in office. So help me God.
Years. That's what we get out of here, right?
Mary Beth won't let me do 30
I'm
now.
supposed to sign hers too, right when you get done. Next is the oath of office for our new city treasurer. Well, Mary Beth, would you come up? The city clerk, please administer the oath of office.
I, Mary Beth Matthews, do solemnly swear that I possess all the qualifications for the position of city treasurer as prescribed by law, that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Missouri, the provisions of all the laws of this state affecting the cities of this class, and the ordinance of the city of Carl Junction, and faithfully demean myself in office, so help me God.
You just thought you were getting away from us, didn't you? Thank you. Next on the agenda is approval of bids for the Sidearm Mower. Discussion? Steve?
Pretty straightforward. He and I are recommending to go with S&H Farm Supply.
And the reason we need this,
We have one, but it is wore out.
well, that sounds like a good reason.
It is wore out to the point of it's wore out.
Any questions for the city administrator about this?
I think this is one that Jimmy even talked about, didn't he, at last budget meeting that coming up
Yes.
in the next year we would be
Yeah.
needing. So it's planned for. So.
Okay. All we need is a motion to approve.
I
the bid.
move we go with the city administrator's recommendation and purchase the sidearm mower
From S&H Farm
from
Supply.
S&H Farms.
Second.
Motion by Ladon Allen, second by Mark Satterley. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 5 in the affirmative with 3 absent. You may purchase the sidearm mower. Next is approval of bids for Center Creek Pavilion repairs. And you want to explain this with the insurance and all that?
Yeah, we had quite the discussion with the insurance company on this. Their appraiser came out and looked at it and recommended replacing the whole thing at $32,500, I think is what their estimate was on to do it. Greg and I both thought that, it really doesn't need totally replaced. It needs some repair done on it. It's a whole lot cheaper to do that than replacing the whole thing. So I got the 2 bids on it, one from Abernathy and the one from Nelson Enterprises. And then I had some additional discussion with them on the repair of it. With in acceptable building code, you can repair trusses as long as you go from load point to load point on a bad spot. So where the trusses come down and meet, as long as you go from there and replace the bad in between the two. That's totally acceptable, and it's reasonable repair on a truss. That means that the price goes a lot cheaper because you're only going to have to replace maybe 1, 2, or 3 trusses that are burnt bad enough where they get that alligator cracking on it and when they look like that. And there's some metal that needed replaced, and both Glenn Price and I agreed that was the better way to do it, is repairing it instead of replacing the whole thing and saving the organization, Myrna, some money and saving us some money too. So with that, I'd recommend that we use Nelson Enterprises for the repair on that pavilion.
All right. Yes, Ladon.
I just had one question, and I had talked with Steve about this today, and he explained a lot. My only question I got to wonder about later, since they came out and looked at it and were recommending like the rebuild, if we do it this other way, we're not gonna have any problems later. Like if we had
No.
something that happened structurally, they won't discount it because,
Right.
okay.
Right, because we will do it per IBC, International Building Code recommendations. So we'll make sure Greg's fully involved in the process.
Well, and it will save us money because we're group insured, right? It's a
Right.
collab.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
does this include the tables and stuff that were destroyed? Or?
The tables, we found out, are not insured.
So I guess that would be no.
No.
We did not even have the tables on our property schedule. Mary Beth and I were thinking that they were contents. They're not, according to them. So, and we're only going to have to replace 4 tables, and they're $700 a piece.
Are the ones that are they repairable? Can we paint them?
They are actually, and we have done that before. We sent them out to Cunningham Sandblasting, and we had them painted. We had them sandblasted and painted and taken care of. We can do that again, which will be just out of our pocket. If they're not warped or anything like that.
I was thinking maybe get new ones for there and then replace.
Yeah.
Some of those are melted.
Yeah.
They have like plastic.
Yeah, they've got that vinyl covering on it,
Yeah.
and that's what we had sandblasted off. The last time that pavilion caught fire, that's what we did with it. We had them sandblasted and powder coated.
It's not the first time this has caught fire. So
But the tables we have turned into the victim's compensation,
Yes,
right? So we
Yeah.
might get that money back from the victim's compensation.
right.
So if I read this correct, we're not sure if we're going to file any charges against the parents.
We're not, I leave that up to the police.
I understand. If maybe I don't know if this is the correct place for this, but is there any type of word just a minute ago.
Restitution.
Well, yeah, but it was looking more, I was thinking more of restitution from the kids as far as,
Community service.
I guess, in lieu of being charged with whatever, working off, so to speak. Community service is what I was looking for.
That is, since they're juveniles, that's all handled by the juvenile system, and it's kind of taken out of both
Okay.
our PD and our control here about whether they do. I am not a fan of community service. It's expensive for us because we have to administer it. And I have to take a full-time employee off of their job duties to supervise that type of thing.
Anything else?
I move we approve Nelson Enterprises to do the repairs on the pavilion.
Motion by Donna Allen, second by Rick Glenn to approve the bids for the Center Creek Pavilion repairs by Nelson Enterprises. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 5 in the affirmative, 3 absent. That contract is also, or bid is also approved. Next, discussion of the bids for solid waste removal contract. Steve?
I want to point out a typo before we get started on it. If you run over to the page 2 on there, the GFL WCA bid, I have it typed in there at $12.25. Their bid was actually $12.75.
That makes a difference.
You have my memo on there. It was quite, as you know, quite extensive for a memo from me. I usually don't get 3 pages worth of it. Quite competitive bid. If you have any questions about the bid, probably now is the time to ask those. The only thing that was different than our current contract is we took the commercial out. Our current contract with Republic has commercial in it along with the residential. It does not have the construction roll-offs on it though.
The current doesn't have the roll-offs.
Yeah, the current contract does not have roll-offs on it, but it does have commercial. It also, I mean, it included the one time a year spring cleanup and one free cart, second free cart if needed. You know, third one they can charge for if they want to. There's probably not very many residences that have 3, that's for sure.
And it does include the large item pickup, right?
Large item pickup, yes.
Okay, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
If I can. On the option, and I was really pushing to try to get some recycling bids in there because, like Steve says, we don't get a lot of people asking, but we do like every week, and people have asked me about them. But the only options we have, none of them provided anything that was just a direct bill that people could just subscribe to a recycling program.
No,
It's
both of them were, from my understanding was that everybody gets billed for the recycling and then you have to subscribe to it if you want that recycling done.
What type of service? I'm sorry.
Pardon?
What type of service as far as recycling? Is it like some bins at the house you fill up and they take?
Yeah, it'd be another, it'd be like a polycart.
Mayor,
Yes,
does this
Gary.
include our spring citywide cleanup the first week of Saturday in May?
Yes.
Well, my problem with everything is I don't think we specified what we really wanted everybody. We gave them too many options. And I kind of like Steve's number one option where we all decide what services we definitely want everybody to bid on and have everybody go out again and bid the same thing. Because you got GFL that didn't bid they didn't have commercial in, they just bid that on the side, Republic included it in there, and so it's, in short, it's the same thing, I guess, yeah. So I think you need to decide how many cars people can have. I think you need to decide, and personally, I think we need to say we want commercial in with. Because I would hate to not have commercial on our contract and have 7 different trash companies coming through the city to pick up commercial trash during the week. So I think it all ought to be under one company. That's my personal opinion, but you guys are the ones that decide, not me. So.
Well, and the only thing I hate about going out for bids, and I always hate it, is because now everybody's seen the bids. So you're a apparent low bidder. The others can come in then and say, oh, well, they've got this amount in, we got to drop below such and such if we want. That's the only thing I hate about rebidding anything.
Okay.
Is because you kind of let the cat out of the bag on the sealed bid.
Yeah, we did, but it's like we didn't. It's a mishmash now, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and it is hard to compare because you have some of them that are lower on the residential rates,
That's exactly right.
but they're higher on the commercial rates. And so it's like, do we save every resident so much money, or there's a big gap in some of them from one commercial to the other? Do we take care of the businesses in town when really we need to take care of the residents? And I like the idea of recycling, but I don't want to pay $19,000 a month for recycling, and everybody has to pay, maybe 80 extra bucks a year, between 70 and 80 bucks a year for something they're not going to use. I don't think that's ethical.
I sure don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, I
take
would-
my aluminum cans to the thing and get paid for them.
Well, and that's the thing on the recycling. What would it include? Like plastic, aluminum, and glass? Would it include any paper? We'd probably stop to drop here.
And cardboard.
Yeah, the paper and the cardboard. But
Actually, if you want to drop your cardboard off, the one at Pizza Hut is the one that's never full.
there you go.
I'm telling you, that's the good place to drop your cardboard off.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering for that amount. Instead of charging every resident that much and having them go around and pick up, would it be cheaper to have just like a receptacle? Like,
Drop off.
yeah, that people could come and.
I understand your concern that everyone knows pricing, but if we're not really clear on this, they probably weren't either.
I think
And maybe in
that's
fairness,
obvious.
we bid it and get it more honed in. Steve's looking where top his glasses. That's good.
Well, because if I look through my glasses, you're just a big blur.
That's how I looked anyway.
It's the real.
So you guys need to decide what you want to do. How you want to go.
What does Steve
Paper is
think?
Republic the best? I mean, as far as value wise?
They're the best for residents. What are their, and commercial, they don't even have
Well,
roll-offs
without-
in right now.
Without commercial and without recycling, is WCA is the cheaper. But if we put the commercial in there, that because there's probably 100 commercial pickups, there's a possibility that it's going to drive the residential price down also.
Well, yeah,
How do you feel our service has been for Republic? I mean, I feel it's been pretty good in our area.
We've had some problems, but it's not anything that isn't, that was one thing when I was checking the references that everybody listed in their packets and their submittals, that we've had the exact same problem with Republic as what everybody else has, and that's their call center has told some of our residents, we don't even have a contract with Carl Junction. But GFL WCA went through, when GFL bought WCA out, or whichever one it was, they had some call center problems also, and so what it comes down to is the local people that we have, the people that had WCA, they love their local people. I mean, we've got two really good guys on the local side for Republic. But then you look at Shorts, that is a smaller company, they answer the phones themselves. They don't even use, and their references were said they're very responsive, so it's really.
I've never heard of Shorts, and I'm assuming their equipment is.
The one thing I like about Shorts, they've got smaller equipment. It's a little bit easier on our roads. 66,000 trucks is, I do not like the trash trucks that we have because they scrub the crap out of our cul-de-sacs. And that's just the nature of the fact that they have the wider tires on them and the fact that they're 66,000 pounds. You can't get around that. The only way you can is with smaller equipment. But then you increase the number of trips because it is smaller equipment. It's 6 1, half a dozen.
Yeah. Well, Shorts is quite a bit more expensive than Republic is. So it looks the thing to me.
Well, like I said, it's hard to compare because it's not apples to apples. The thing is, do you know how many commercial customers we even have? I mean,
I estimated it at 100. I don't know what.
It's probably more like around 60.
60.
There's about 1,600 people with a second cart and less than 50 with a third.
well,
Now, I've got a third cart. I don't know if I've ever set all 3 carts out. Well, yes, I have. Christmas time.
Yeah.
well, I mean, if you guys want to rebid, I think the obvious things that should be in is the residential, definitely 2 carts for free.
And the cost for a third.
Cost for a third. Everything we talked about, like the citywide cleanup, the free large item pickup, one a week when you call for it. I think it's going to be too unrealistic to try to get recycling.
Totally agree.
But we need the commercial in all of the bids because, like I say, if nothing else, too, they could fleece. If there's no contract in, then they call around and it's just, you might end up with somebody having to pay an outrageous amount just to get service.
That's exactly what I've written down too, just what you talked about. That's what I think we ought to do.
I hate to have to rebid it just for the
And
reason I said.
because I want, we get something, so everybody has to bid the same thing.
And right now, the contract that we have in place, if we're not going to do the recycling, is a decent contract, but we don't have the roll-off or anything included for the commercial. Right?
We eliminated the roll-offs a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's,
So did we put those in for commercial or no? Like if we're going to go out and rebid it, or do we just go with straight what we have
still
right
leave
now?
the roll-offs.
What we have, yeah.
So I guess if we rebid, we just do exactly what we have right now.
Commercial and residential. No
And like I said, there is a third option. We still have an option to extend our contract that we have now.
And that's till the end of March.
Yes.
So even if we rebid it and we rejected all bids and we went with an extension on the contract, we could do that by the end of March.
Yeah. That's right.
I would like, and I don't know if any of the ones we're talking about do have any kind of option for a receptacle. Maybe we could find out.
The plastic deal, you mean?
Like, yeah, pick up like a place for for plastic or.
They probably want to charge us though. That's the problem.
Yeah, and that even our cardboard one out here, they've started charging us for those.
Really?
This, yeah,
I was gonna say,
Do
Stuart.
they charge
took
all
theirs
these other
away
ones
from
out
work.
here?
I assume they are, but they
They-
only
they-
charge us
they
for
started
one,
charging
even though we
Stuart's
have
work.
three.
They start charging.
But that started in the past year, and that's because there's no market for it. I mean, China can't buy our recyclables anymore. That killed the market.
Because you go to Woody's and it's full all the time. You go to the one behind UPS store, it's full all the time. And I say, I go to Pizza Hut and it's empty all the time.
Our
It's
three,
like, no, we're gonna have to go.
I guess they're not throwing their boxes away in there. I don't know.
our
Or Pizza Hut.
three that we have here are full every week.
Yeah.
Jennifer has
Can I address the question she just asked?
So yeah, go ahead.
Okay. As far as doing like a cardboard receptacle or something like that, we just did recently acquire a company in which that is possible. Under the third option, if we want to just renew the current contract, which is the best pricing for everybody, even with these bids today, that's something, if the city wishes that, city facilities are at no charge, so that would be an option.
And then the recyclable, whatever cardboard and stuff that are at city places are open to the entire city.
Yeah, they're open
Yeah.
for anybody.
Yeah,
Anybody,
and like say, if we can find a way to
But they're always
get the
full.
aluminum and the plastic and the glass, because, I mean, I understand, you'd be putting half of what you put in the landfill if we could do that, but
But
If it's not
there's no
cost-
money in it. Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
There isn't.
if
I
it's
mean,
cost prohibitive, we
That's-
can't
that's the
do
whole
it.
It's
problem.
not that equipment is so terribly expensive to handle that stuff. There's no market for it. There's no
Yeah.
place for it to go.
Especially the glass.
Yeah, especially glass. And plastic you have to crush. And you have to be careful what plastic goes
There's
in
all
there.
kinds of different plastics.
Yeah. You know, if it's water bottles only, it's not a problem. But there's so many different types of plastic. And
Well,
then you get into some of the colored glass too.
you got this water bottle, you got this, it's different kinds
Which
of
is different
plastic.
than the rest of the water bottle. You just take the caps off of it. It's just not, economically, it's not there.
Okay. You're killing the earth, but I'll go with what you say.
No, we're not. We have somebody else.
So did Mr. Mayor.
What? Yes, sir.
If you don't mind,
No.
address what y'all were talking about, rebidding the contract.
Yes, sir.
You made a point how my price was high, I'm telling you, love shorts trash. One of the reasons it is because I've been involved with equipment. That makes a difference. I've seen it done in other cities. One of the cities in Arkansas recently just did it. They require everybody to bid with new equipment, or at least within a year old. It makes it for a much more fair playing field as far as the level. If you want to see true apples to apples. Because she can bid it cheaper than I can right now because she usually put she already got on the street. Mine's coming in brand new. School colors, though.
Oh, there you go. There, another item we gotta put.
It is, and you know, the price, as we know from the equipment that we buy, that price of equipment just keeps going up.
You're
$200,000 for one of,
Our equipment we run here at Carl Junction is within 1-2 years old.
you know, I don't know what those front loaders and those sidearm pickups, but they gotta be $200,000.
240, 235. They're high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, bought a semi in 1988. It was $98,000.
And I don't know, I think this is just a discussion. So we don't have to vote on doing anything this time. Steve can go out and do that if he so desires. Don't you agree, Mr. Dowling?
You've got some bids before you
Yes.
that you need to either
We'll have to read.
Okay.
accept or reject, I think, by council action.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know that you can take the next step until you deal with these bids.
You Yeah.
You see it
Okay,
differently?
I understand that. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay.
I think we should rebid. Make sure everybody's bidding on the exact same thing. New equipment, whatever. I don't know if that's feasible.
So I move that at this time we reject the bids as is and
Direct me.
direct for the bids to be as we discussed a while ago,
Second.
which were Mr. Mayor's and whatnot.
Trash, 1 or 2 containers free, cost for the third one, commercial included, and all of the other stuff we talked about with the spring cleaning pickup and the large item pickup you can call for and stuff like that, which we have in our current contract, which you can put in that bid.
So basically all the parameters in our contract.
Do we need to add the new equipment? Start bringing it.
I don't think if you put, then we're gonna have to,
It's hard to.
we're gonna have to,
Swap it.
well, if you say, you have to define new.
And honestly, right now, they couldn't get
It's
them.
not feasible to get new equipment.
Yeah, I was gonna say right now.
With the pandemic and everything. I mean,
Yeah, supply chain stuff
I
is,
mean, am I right? At least 6 months or more out.
You second that?
Yes, I second it.
Okay. Elena, do you understand what we're doing?
Yes.
I'm glad somebody does.
But they're still gonna pick up our trash from now till March.
oh yeah.
Yeah, March 31st. We have a contract due March 31st. Yeah. Motion by Mark Sadley, second by Don Allen, that we reject all the current bids and that our city administrator go out for our discussions with a bid that is uniform for all bidders to bid the exact same thing. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 5 in the affirmative, 3 absent. You have your direction.
It's my turn to do
Thank you for your advice, sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. This is on discussion of just an observation, if you don't mind.
No.
I'm Max Murray with GFL
Uh-huh.
WCA, whichever name you like better. The, one of the items that drives the pricing on residential higher is the 2-cart situation. You know, it was said you only have about 1,600 residents actually have the 2 carts. But as bidders coming in, it says they are allowed 2 carts, which means you have to order double the number of carts that there are number of residents. And then you're going to have to go out and remove half of them. If you got 3,000 residents, only 1,600 of them have carts, you're buying 6,000 carts for the 2 each. So,
Well,
Currently, as they
well,
call it,
I mean, obviously,
they do it.
you're a large corporation
right, but
and,
it was written
and you,
for 2 carts.
that you couldn't even have 2 carts, right? What I'm saying is, you also have contracts with other cities.
Yes, sir.
And you probably have, I'm sure if someone breaks a cart, you've got a cart sitting over there, you can replace it. So, I mean, it's an economic deal for you too. I mean, and if I were you, I wouldn't buy, somebody wants 2 carts, you tell them, we'll get some on order and they'll be here in a month or however long it takes you to get them.
And that is the perfect answer. That's not the way I had interpreted the RFP. So no,
Yeah.
that is a perfect answer to call and request the second one.
Yeah, that's how we normally do it. You have 1 cart, and if you want a second cart, they tell you they want a second cart.
Fantastic. That answers my
Yeah.
question.
And if they tell you want a 3rd cart, you charge them so much a month for it.
I'm on board.
I don't think don't want everybody to have 2 carts.
Correct.
That's how everybody else understands it, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like, we've got 2 people in the house and we don't need
Yeah,
that many.
all right, so we did get that passed anyway, so I guess we're done with that then. And I hope everybody is
That was me.
clear on all that, yeah. Next, I guess, is the administration report. No news on the grant.
On either one of them.
Wonderful. Anything for the city administrator?
Evidently, the NTIA and the National Park Service are running together.
Yeah, maybe we'll get 5 fiber optic someday too. Okay. Nothing else for the city administrator?
What about the bids for the Center Creek? What was it last time we talked about going underneath the?
The study.
Oh,
Yeah, that's it, that is, Kurt went out to bid, yesterday, for repairing of that sewer line that was broken. It's just on the other side of 171.
Well, that's going to be somewhat of a huge job, isn't it?
Yeah, because we've got to improve the road path down to it to be able to get to it, so it's gonna be a big job,
300,000.
probably.
Yeah. We do have reserves though.
Yeah, we do, and
State requires it.
we're also going to, one of the things we did is, we already had the, is that 8-inch?
12-inch cast.
What is it?
12-inch cast.
12-inch extra pipe down at the plant. So we're gonna take and we're gonna put that in place also. If we ever need it, then that pipe's already in place.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea. Smart.
Very good. Anything else for city administrator? Moving right along, department reports. I have the PD report in front of me. It's in your packet. Any comments for our chief?
I had a quick
Yes.
question. I didn't get over to Carthage for the LEST. Did we have to cut? Do we know? I know everybody was gonna have to cut, but did we get slashed or did Webb get it this time?
So the meeting did not go like I planned or envisioned. When it first started, there was a chief from another agency who questioned the legality of us applying for that grant since we have our own public safety tax that was approved here. The 3 board members that were there was not sure about that. There was a question. They postponed the meeting for about 20 minutes and then ultimately decided they weren't quite sure. They went ahead and granted us the $15,458 for a new telephone radio recording system with the last word of is they will be seeking clarification on whether or not it's legal for us to do that. So at this time, I'm assuming that I will get the go-ahead, the actual paperwork to sign off and accept what they gave us. But in the future, this may no longer be an option. We don't know either way for sure. We're just gonna have to wait and see how the board feels about it. There was one of the board members I felt was positive for us. However, he's retiring in 2 months. The others I didn't quite get a good feeling about, so I'm not sure where this is going to wind up ultimately when they actually, I don't know if they'll have their attorneys look at it or what they'll wind up doing, but until we get clarification, I'm just not sure where we'll be at this time next year.
Does Joplin have a tax?
Yes.
Yes.
They applied for anything?
They voluntarily pulled out of it when they first got it passed, and that was one of the issues that was brought up also.
I don't think you can compare us to Joplin.
Well, and since it is open record, who is the agency that had a problem with it?
Carterville.
Oh, for God's sake. Okay, because that'll be open record. Also, the LEST board members are elected, correct still?
No, they're appointed by the commission.
Because at one point they were elected. Because if you remember years back when we had some candidates that ran,
Right.
if you know what I mean.
I think they're appointed by the commission. I don't think those are elected positions.
They were elected
By who?
I'm not.
By who?
by Jasper County citizens at one point. Because there
I've never
were,
voted on any of them.
this was years ago, there were 2 reserve deputies that either ran, I thought they
were
ran.
just appointed.
Or were they
because
just
it was
appointed?
Archie,
Uh-huh.
when it got passed, and he appointed his own board,
Yeah,
and then there was issues with that, as we know, and then it fell under the commission the commissioners to establish the board.
Okay. Because I thought at one point there was a time in there that they had 1 or 2 elections and then it was changed, but that may have been the 911.
That was the 911.
Was that the
Yeah,
911
that's where
board?
the election occurred.
Okay. So the
And
commissioners.
I will say that after it was brought up by Carterville, there was more agencies that started murmuring, so it is an issue. So, like I said, I don't know where it'll wind up, but I just want to give you a heads up on it.
Well, and really, it shouldn't knock us out because Webb City accepted a grant for their police department. They
Well,
got a
They
grant,
don't
I
have a public safety tax.
No, but they got a grant. So how are we gonna determine what disqualifies?
That'll be up to the board to decide.
Sorry, I know it's not your decision, but that's kind of.
Oh, believe me, I'm frustrated too.
Anything else for the chief? Anything else?
Nope.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. Moving right along, we'll go to the bi-weekly public works report. I hope you got the hydraulic cylinders for the snowplow fixed.
Yep.
Thank God. You might need them in the next couple of days. Did a lot of stuff here. I like this report. Very good. Thank you. Anything else for Jay?
Are we allowed to ride along on the plows?
On the front?
What do you want the hood?
I know
I'd
it's
have
been
to
done in
check.
the past. I don't want to be an
Have to check with our
encumbrance.
insurance company.
I'll have to check with the insurance
Yeah,
company.
sure.
We put you on the scarf already.
Not feeling any love in this room right now.
Too like when Jimmy
I'm
first
trying
started
to-
having him in the back shoveling out.
I want to be right there.
That's the way we did it in the old days.
Oh, no, I can't get up early. I can do it afternoon.
We're done by then.
Anything else for Jay? Got the building inspector's report here. You guys got a copy of that? Any comments about the building inspector's report? Roofing still isn't, it's in second place, Electrical's passing roofing now.
Wait till all the roof collapses.
So
for
it's
18
on
inches
fire.
of snow.
A lot of stuff going on. Okay, moving right along. Committee reports. Budget and Finance, Ladonna.
Well, we've had some rescheduling due to illness and absence, but we are going to meet at 1 p.m. a week from today and try to knock out at least all of Jay's budgets and possibly PD. Are we gonna have PD ready? City
Possibly.
clerk.
Possibly.
Okay, I was gonna, even if we could maybe have it ready just in case but we decided maybe to try to do an extended session on the hopes of actually getting everybody there at least one day so we can knock out a bunch. So if that works for everybody. 1 o'clock next Tuesday.
You're okay with that? Bob should be too, shouldn't
But
he?
yeah, I sent him a text and I think he said he was okay. on
I
that.
can be there as soon as golf's over.
We'll have a snowpocalypse, you won't. So anyhow, that's it. We did revenues so far, but our expenses have kind of got delayed because of.
Anything else for budget? You're gonna have to talk about ARP funding and all that.
Yes. Are we going to try to do that like after we finish budget since we can't, like April 1st isn't it when it goes into effect, the final rule or?
We can do it before.
Yeah, we need to.
Can-
we're not- yeah.
Well, but I mean, do
We
we
need a
want to
budget
knock out
before.
budget first and then?
I just include it in the budget.
Just
I
do
would
it all at the
too,
same
yeah.
time.
It's gonna have to be another line item on
I
the
just
balance sheet.
All righty. We can do that.
Because that may impact, what other stuff you're gonna do with our money.
That'll make me happy to have that since we didn't get the LESD.
All right.
About that.
Next, code nuisance, Rick.
Nothing at this time.
Human resources, Roger's not here. Mike's not here. Goes and Saturday are though.
I have nothing at this time, sir.
I believe that if Roger is here next week or in 2 weeks, we will need a closed session next week to go over next meeting. Yeah, sorry, thank you. To go over the one that was canceled for this week, the personnel thing. So we need to put that on there and we can find out if Roger's gonna be healthy enough to be here. Hopefully by then he will be. Public Facilities and Planning, Bob's not here. Let's see, you got Rick and Mark that are on that though. Okay. Senior Citizens, Gary?
No,
Where's Richard?
Well, you know, maybe I had a better
Better
deal.
deal.
I don't know. I would just remind everyone that all our local senior centers close their centers in conjunction with school closings. So we probably will be closed.
It's closed.
It's closed, school's closed. Yeah, okay,
There it is.
okay,
It is, Richard.
very good. Anything else for any of these committees? Unfinished business, Gary?
No, sir.
Rick?
No, sir.
I have none. Donna?
Nothing.
Mark?
I have no old business.
Jim? Mr. Talley?
No.
Lena?
Yes, sir.
Crystal?
Yes, sir.
Steve?
No, sir.
Mark?
Nope.
Jay? New business, Jim?
No, sir.
Mark?
Yes, and perhaps this should have been directed into the administrative report, but I think the timer on our basketball court may not be functioning properly anymore.
Okay. Staying on.
It's staying on
Okay.
a long time. Long time. Not that I care, it's not really blinding my.
You're at
blinding
work
me,
anyway, so.
Huh?
You're at work anyway.
but Not right now. I got another week of days. I don't care after that.
Got it.
Is that it?
That's all I have, sir.
Thank you. LaDonna?
This isn't really new business. I should have asked when we got to the, when we had Jay's report and everything, but the water main, we have a water main break Sunday.
At Country Club,
Yeah,
no, we had 5 meters stopped. There's hardly any valves out in that area, so we had to shut from Woodland south.
okay.
Guy went out with his wrench and broke the meter stop. He must have turned it backwards or something.
Well, alrighty, I was just checking. What are they doing under the street? Up there that they still have the equipment out there tonight?
We're
At the intersection, Lone Elm and Fur?
they're putting new gas. lines.
Gas
I was
line.
gonna say, cause they're out there working, they're trying to beat the weather. tonight.
Gas line,
That's-
yeah.
They're going from Lone Elm to Joplin Street. They're bringing a gas line in on, or not Joplin Street, Robert Drive. They're bringing a gas main in there because when they had the big gas break out there, they had no way to get gas in that way.
Yeah,
And now they'll have a line coming in that way.
Cool.
Besides another one.
I was gonna say, cause they're out there with crews, they're trying to beat the weather
Good.
tonight, so. Okay, that's all, sorry, that wasn't new business, but
That's okay.
forgot.
I have no new business. Rick?
None, sir.
Gary?
No, sir.
Mr. Talley?
None there.
Lena?
No, sir.
Crystal?
No, sir.
Steve?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Couple of things. We are gonna have to get another zero-turn mower for Public Works. So we'll go out, bids on those.
Is it in the budget?
We don't believe.
Oh, you're gonna get it next year?
He's got plenty of money in his equipment budget.
I guess they made.
Also, we got a proposal that we're kind of trying to digest here a little bit from Flynn Drilling on a maintenance, an equipment inspection agreement or maintenance agreement on our water wells. And what they can do is find out how healthy our pumps and the systems and the wiring, all on that pumping side of it, on the water well itself. We're trying to analyze it, whether it's going to be worth it or not to do, because it does have an annual cost associated with it, and there can be some savings with it if you happen to have one of those years where we have a well go down or something like that, so we're trying to see if it's really gonna be worth. And I'll have a recommendation for you next time.
This includes replacement of stuff?
This is just for, this agreement is just for inspection and like a maintenance agreement. But they do give you a discount. If you have this in place, something goes wrong, they do give you a discount.
What's our public works guys think about it?
Harvey likes it.
Okay,
I haven't really discussed it with Jay.
okay.
Harvey likes knowing where the system's at and what it's doing. You know, it is, you know, it's worthwhile for him. He feels it's worthwhile for him too.
So is the inspection an annual inspection or a semi-annual or?
It is a annual inspection.
I guess my thought was, if you kind of know that you have something that's going bad, that's not bad yet, but it's going bad, you can pre-build for that.
Yeah.
You know, and you can, probably a lot cheaper to pre-build than it is to buy at the last minute and have it air shipped in or whatever.
It's, you know, if we have to pull a well and replace the pump and the wire and the air tube, you know, it's probably pretty easy to rack up $60,000 on it now. That's without replacing it.
So you feel that you kind of have a feel for how many wells we have, how often we have a fail rate, and the age of the particular wells.
That's kind of where we're
Could
at.
you almost project what we're gonna?
They give you a price? Yes, Jay.
What it's gonna do is it's gonna build a history on the well, the pumps, and everything in it, the pressures, how the motor's running over time, and they'll be able to give you an evaluation of when they think the pump is gonna go out, so you'll have time to think about all this stuff and prepare for it.
We have 3 of them that are 10 years old.
Oh, they're all 2 years old. You mean the well itself?
The pump.
The pump? Yeah, and the submersible pumps are only supposed to last for 7 years.
What's the cost?
$2,450 a year.
Oh,
That's.
sounds like it's well worth it then. Yeah,
That's for all the wells, not
That's
just.
for all.
Yeah, that's for
Okay.
all wells.
yeah. It sounds like a good deal to me too.
Sure.
And there's 2% off all labor costs on anything they do after that.
It's basically $350 a well is what it is, and we've got 7 wells. So.
Well,
I think
you're lucky that's right under your,
Well, I think the nice thing
Your
is you
authorities
kind of
about
know in advance, like we say, we know a history, we kind of see what the trend is, if it's fixing to go out in the next 6 months, you pre-build
well, I tell you,
whatever.
and you know, it could
at
be
a
that,
convenience
you
more
know, the
than
trend on it
pressure.
could be that it, you know, it might only last another year. We could wake up tomorrow morning and it's not working.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I would, just to be on the safe side, I'd really kind of like a motion that would say something like that you give Steve the authority to do this if the Public Works Department feels it's beneficial to the city.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Mark Satterley, second by Don Allen, to give Steve the authority to do this as long as Public Works agrees with it.
All right.
All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 5 in the affirmative, 2 absent.
And did you have something?
Yeah, I thought I did, but I can't know where it is. What was about the easement? We want to talk about
Oh,
that?
yeah, we've got Kurt with Alger Martin has a draft letter ready for sending to the people that have the property that we need to acquire an easement from to get the drainage on Quail's Nest taken care of. We're going to have to buy that easement. He has not proposed any pricing or anything yet, but he does have the draft letter ready for it. At the point where we come up with a price on it, we'll have to have a closed session on that,
So-
because that could affect.
So you have to buy easement?
Might be the only way that we can get
This
this
is the
done.
way that I'm going to read it. You can have that.
which is not normal for us. We have not bought a lot of easements.
It may not come through anyway because the Browns may not want it. Before they've not wanted to let us do that, right?
Yep.
They're very adamant about not doing this, so we have a major water problem because of bad contractor.
They, Browns, which is a property just directly south of the Quail's Nest, they wanted to tie all kinds of things into us being able to do this. They wanted lift station upgrades, and they wanted some concessions on the stormwater detention area that they would have to build. And they wanted some stuff that's really not even associated with what we were doing here, and I kind of
20 years getting that through.
did that.
Anything else?
No, sir.
No new business? Chief? Jay? Is there any other business before the council?
Move we adjourn.
Second. Motion led Don Allen, second by Rick Flynn, that we adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 5 in the affirmative with 3 absent. We are adjourned. Thank you all for attending today. We really appreciate you in the audience.